The feeling of beating someone good in Super Smash Bros. Melee is a great feeling. Alternatively, the feeling of beating someone good with a character you barely play is both an emotionally stimulating and all-around degenerate feeling. That emotion is what we're after in this video, and we'll be talking about specific times or long eras where someone's backup character made waves. Some of these might be ones we found hilariously unexpected and sometimes painful, while others were times where we were genuinely impressed by someone's ability with a different character. Coming out of my cage and I've been feeling just fine, here's Allston Melee's top 10 SSBM secondaries. Hit the subscribe button for weekly top 10s. Number 10, M2K's Ganon, it is so bad. DreamHack Denver 2017 was a pretty normal DreamHack for Melee. CRTs as far away from the main games as physically possible, extremely stacked winners top 32 side with a round 1 that looks like an 80-man regional, and only 300 entrants because we as a scene are constantly terrified of any company with money trying to win us over. You know, the usual DreamHack stuff. After a loss to Axon winners and being up against Chudat for losers top 8, M2K would take to Twitter for the choice of what character he should play against Chudat. Mewtwo King had previously played Peach against Ice Climbers because of the extremely lopsided matchup, but he hadn't had a perfect record with the Switch. After losing Game 1 with Marth, M2K, to the surprise of practically everyone in the venue, counterpicked Ganondorf the second game. Apparently previously receiving matchup knowledge from Kage, M2K for some reason thought that was enough. And it was. Chudat, after losing a game to M2K's Ganon in probably the only game it's ever taken in tournament, would counterpick Ganondorf with his own Fox to reach the second character no one saw coming featured in this loser's top 8 set. Okay, was M2K's Ganon mind-blowing or do literally anything special? Absolutely not. Was it incredibly hilarious and the only thing we remember from this tournament? Absolutely. And for that, this toxically entertaining set of Super Smash Bros. Melee takes our last spot possible. Number 9, every single one of PGH Carol secondaries. At this point, we have no idea what character PGH Carol mains, dual mains, or tri-mains, but even with those characters out of the picture, we still confidently rank Carol here. If you have somehow refused to click on any of the best combo videos from the past 5 years, you might be still somehow unaware of PGH Carol and his gift to humanity, but this person has done combos in Melee equivalent to AI playing street ball at Rucker Park. PGH Carol's combo videos sometimes feel like the only thing keeping the blood pumping in the combo video era, but in a not so distant past of Lovage videos being uploaded to the Waffle77's YouTube channel, we think Carol would fit right in. Having our undying appreciation and YouTube click every time we see them available, this entry was secretly just an excuse for us to watch Had to Gamble for the 15th time. PGH Carol, while easily number 1 in our hearts, remains low-key on this list because a father's family always comes before everything, especially Melee tournaments. Number 8, Swedish Delight's Luigi. Swedish's Luigi is born. Swedish jokingly tweets if he should go Luigi against Liquid Hungrybox. Swedish takes Game 2 against Hbox in a close best of 5. That's it. That's the entry. Number 7, S2J's Falco. While S2J's Bird has been making more casual appearances, being that it's saw plenty of tournament sets at events like Rona Rumble or Pound Online, S2J's Falco has actually been around almost as long as the Falcon player himself. At Genesis 2, in one of the first tournament sets we ever saw recorded from Smoke 2 joints, Dr. PP, for some reason that we honestly couldn't figure out, would Falcon ditto S2J even though he didn't play Falcon against anyone else in the tournament. PP, while having a great and reoccurring Falcon secondary that could have been worthy on this list itself, would take Game 1 in the ditto pretty strongly. Maybe he had an in on Johnny not being the strongest in the ditto, but S2J would pull his counterpick card that he still uses to this day. Going Falco Game 2 against the Falcon, S2J had the lead the entirety of the game, and even leading up to a last stock edge guard where he side beat off the stage. While S2J's Falco first act appearance had a tragic death in the last scene, it would become a consistent actor in the Johnny show in the years after, being the go-to man on the bench whenever paired in a Falcon ditto or just feeling it against the right person. While it did pop up more frequently a couple years ago, if S2J suddenly decided to switch to Falco, based on the results that we've already seen, we'd still be confident in him staying at top 100. Now more than ever in the rollback era, it looks like anyone can get the work of S2J's Falco, and we're just excited to see what it looks like when the offseason's over. Number 6, Leffen Sheik. One of the most recent actually adopted secondaries featured on this list, Leffen Sheik is born from the extended hatred he shares for the Fox Marth matchup that grows bigger and bigger each day like a Katamari Damacy playthrough. While he's been constantly vocal of how the Marth-Fox matchup feels like to him, Leffen hadn't really put his money where his mouth is for how he felt about Marth's other matchups. While it had been an item on the back burner since like 2017, as recent as August of this year, Leffen has talked the talk and walked the walk, showing what was in the chamber for all these years. Although it's just one net play tournament worth of results, Leffen's 6-1 over Triphasia and the rest of EU with Sheik was met with the most appropriate response you could possibly expect from Leffen, tweeting to already be better than EU with the secondary, smiley face. Recently, you can expect to see all Sheik stream sessions from Leffen, with him taking the character more seriously in anticipation for actually using it in tournament. Whether this is Allston Melee predicting Leffen Sheik to be a real factor in the future, or this is just the time where we look back and laugh that Leffen Sheik was something we even talked about, we feature Leffen's embodiment of hatred for Marth at our 6th spot. Number 5, Don't Test Me. In the brief time period of COVID Melee before rollback, where everyone possible was trying to get you to register for their free-to-play netplay tournament, Melee streamer and top player Ginger hosted an online event with the gimmick of creating fake tags and hiding your identity. Winning the tournament over only speculated players, Don't Test Me would rise above the rest in videos Ginger probably deleted immediately. Zayn would turn out to be the party guilty for a Roy winning the tournament, but Don't Test Me could not be erased by just a single Twitch VOD. The months that followed would feature somewhat infrequent but always terrorizing visits from Zayn's Roy while taking multiple net play wins off of top 50 players. At a large online tournament hosted by Justin Wong, it would feature a Melee rollback bracket and a registration from Don't Test Me. A laggy Wi-Fi Zelda that was booting up from North Texas would fair and bear away Don't Test Me's winner's bracket life, but the loser's bracket would end up just feeling more pain because of it. Ginger, who had 3-0'd IBDW earlier in the tournament, would fall to Axon winners, and of course, the ever so unfortunate Don't Test Me in losers finals. Don't Test Me would lose to Axe and claim 2nd place after defeating Ginger, Aklo, Ty, Bones, Magi, and a few others along the way to 2nd place. Zayn's Roy, self-titled Don't Test Me, has surely made at least one top 100 player throw their controller, regardless if they want to admit it or not. Number 4, Plup's Luigi. Remember how we didn't talk about Swedish's Luigi? Oh, that's because meet its big brother. At CEO Dreamland, before competing, Plup would hold his Twitter hostage at the mercy of Nintendo Green Man. 1K retweets and I go all Luigi this tourney. And you already know those sadistic f***s retweeted this 1,000 times. Plup and Ginger, after beating the people who were seeded to lose before them, would play in winners finals of their pools to make it a top 48, with Plup still sticking to Luigi. It was 2-0 Plup. A top 50 player got on a plane, traveled to Florida, and lost to Plup's Luigi. In the first round of top 48, next to matches like Swedish vs Drug Fox or SFAT vs Hugs, Plup's Luigi would play Nintendude. The last set they played had been an infamous one, where Plup flipped off the screen being so mad seeing his Samus wobbled. But now playing Luigi Ices, a matchup Plup hadn't ever played in tournament before, he was surely about to get walked by Nintendude. A top 35 player got on a plane, traveled to Florida, and then lost to Plup's Luigi. Next he'd have, no, dude. The 11th best player just got on a plane. Plup's Luigi, after beating Drug Fox, would get 5th, taking a game from M2K and going 1-1 with Swedish's Luigi, who would cave and win the set with Sheik. Plup's Luigi, seemingly born out of just a joke, went on a monster run at the only time Plup has let it out of its cage, and it's crazy to think that Plup is just this much better at Melee than other people. Number 3, Hbox's Ness and Armada's Young Link. After playing 3 sets at Apex 2010's the tournament victory of Hbox, at Pound 5, Armada would pull out a character that maybe only the person he practiced with saw coming, and went Young Link against Hungrybox's Puff. It has to be mentioned that Armada had so much resentment for the Peach Puff matchup that he was fully convinced it was one of the worst matchups in the game. Armada would share opinions that stayed true for years, up until the recent times of Peach and Puff players starting to challenge and change those opinions. But at Pound 5, whether it was just unawareness of the matchup or being completely thrown off by the character, Hbox would fall 2-0 to Armada's Young Link. The next 2 sets they played would bring the same characters as Pound 5, with both sets going to Armada, and him even winning Apex 2012 with a 3-0. Unwilling to be continuously counterpicked by a mid-tier, things had to change for Hbox. This was literally a player starting to craft himself into the ever so dominant player he is now, but in the 2000s preteen years, Hbox just kept losing to someone's Young Link. Granted, this was Armada, but at the end of the day, it's still someone picking Young Link on the character select screen. Continuing in New Jersey, at Apex 2013, we would get the culmination of the years prior, and 2 top 5 players counter picks were so ass backwards that suddenly we're playing low tiers in winter semis. While Hbox is still probably the only person who has popped off after a double blind character pick, Hbox's Nest would lose the 2 games it was featured in, and after switching to Puff, he would lose the set 3-1. In the sets that came after, Hbox would eventually figure out what the to do in the Puff Young Link matchup instead of getting hit by every single bomb possible. And after, he'd have a strong showing over Armada in the 2 sets at EVO 2014. Armada would then be partially pressed along with Leffen's Fox to start picking up his own Fox instead of the bad band-aid his Young Link was appearing to be. We featured these 2 players' counter picks conjoined at the hip for our number 3 slot, not only because of the fact that we had 2 top players playing low tiers in top 8, but because of the legacy that followed. Armada and Hungrybox would rise as the 2 strongest players for a solid chunk of time, having Fox Puff Grand Finals after Fox Puff Grand Finals again and again. Their rise above the rest was so constant to the point that the repetition and frequency probably hurt the rivalry's legacy. And it's kind of mind-numbing to even consider that there was a point in these players' reign where one of them was yelling in excitement over Young Link Nest being the characters played. Number 2, Axe's Young Link. After sitting in this chair and admittedly not attaching a single cool adjective to the Young Link secondary that just came before this one, we will do nothing but the opposite for Axe's. To be fair, where Armada's Young Link was born out of a time of necessity and stubbornness, Axe's Young Link was born out of a time of swag and it's lit. Making its first recorded appearance at Apex 2012 against New England's own Dark, Axe's Young Link would be set from the jump on showcasing little known tech and constantly looking like he was playing a different game than his opponents. While Axe didn't have the same success in the Hbox department as Armada would, Axe's Young Link would make constant appearances in the matchups he didn't love for Pikachu, especially against Puff and Ice Climbers. For a long time, Axe's Young Link features would be sometimes random, and while everyone was confident it was the coolest character on the screen in most scenarios, the immediate purpose of the character tournament-wise was a little unsure. While it did win a stacked low tiers bracket over none that for some blasphemous reason allowed Ganon, the Young Link still didn't have a constant seat at the table. But in 2017, in situations that had shreds of nostalgia from Hbox and Armadas, Axe's Young Link's purpose would be set. At SmashCon playing in winner's quarters, Mango had just won Game 1 against Axe. Axe, although not the strongest in the chain grab, would counterpick Mango's Falco to FD, and then this happened.
Fox?
What?
What?
Scorp?
Young Link?
No way. No way. No way.
Oh,
no
they're
way.
Doing it for the fans.
Oh.
Mango pulled out his Mario, and while most people thought Axe just went Young Link because of the hype of mid-tiers, there was a real purpose behind it. Mario can chain grab Pikachu, especially on Final Destination, so while Axe counterpicked the stage to be able to chain grab Mango's Falco, with the pick of the mid-tier, Mango suddenly switched who can chain grab who. Axe would then switch to his go-to character in floaty matchups he doesn't love, and would go Young Link the same as he would against an established Ice Leads player. Mango and Axe would play Mario Young Link across US majors for about a year, consistently prompting 2 fan-favorite characters, which was a very different vibe compared to the Hbox Armada sets that had similarities elsewhere. Axe's Young Link to this day could pop up anywhere, taking games off of players in unprecedented ways for mid-tiers, and at least 2 of Axe's characters to this day have inspired plenty of people trying to mimic his success. And our number 1 secondary. Probably saw it coming, but it deserves to be here, Scorpion Master. While Mango's Mario did absolutely make a splash in recent times, this Blue Hero's legacy digs a little bit deeper than just SmashCon 2017. In the early days of Smashboards, a teenage Mango, regardless of flirting with being the number 1 player in the world, would be constantly banned by Smashboard admins. Mango, while terrorizing internet admins, would get his high school IP's address banned from Smashboards that is apparently still server banned to this day. While Mango would virtually fight with Smashboards, an idea would be placed in his head after winning a NorCal tournament, inspired by f***ing with Smashboards as much as he possibly could. Because tournament sets at this time were still just gameplay only with no cameras, theoretically if someone was entering with a fake tag and had everyone at the tournament in on the bit, they could convince Smashboards and the general public that this fake tag was a completely new player. Thus, Scorpion Master, the blue Mario with a kind and welcoming attitude, was born. Young Mango, while cosplaying online as a nice and friendly person, would start to win the exact same tournaments he was taking seriously with his mains. beating players like Silent Spectre and Hugs, who were top talent at the time. Almost immediately winning his local tournaments, Scorp would post smiley faces and hope to see everyone again text as many times as he appeared. At Good Shit German, a large NorCal tournament, more than 80 entrants would show up, which was huge at the time, including some of the best players ever. While people were surprised to see that Mango was absent, others would be excited to see Scorp confirm on Smashboards being the biggest tournament he's attended. Scorpion Master would run through California players to make it to winners finals against the East Coast best player, Mewtwo King. Everyone had done their part keeping the bit alive and keeping Scorp's true identity under wraps, and even in the commentary of the winners final said they don't break character. M2K would win game 1 like he was obviously supposed to, but game 2 would be where legends were born, and Scorpion Master would take the game in a fashion that would get everyone to chime in online about him. Scorp would drop game 3 after a decent lead and lose the set 3-1 and the following grand final set played after. Scorp's rise to the top of competitive Melee was born out of just a funny inside joke and the idea of embarrassing established players with a joke character. Scorpion Master is both a hilarious and honestly interesting time in Melee's life, showing an era where Mango could just go random characters and still be competitive with the best players. This list features fun times where we get to see the viewpoints of top players in completely foreign perspectives or almost completely alternate universes. Melee Secondaries, in our opinion, are the epitome of the reason why we play Melee. Because it's fucking fun. Playing Secondaries is an opportunity to drop the preset notions of pressure and anxiety that constantly come with entering Melee tournaments. And time again, it has allowed a player to just have fun with a game we adore so much.